you. Come on in. Welcome to the Scumm Bar.
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, take you wonder by wonder, over, sideways, and under, on a magic carpet ride, a whole new world, a new fantastic point of view, no one to tell us no, or where to go, or say we're only dreaming. That's exactly how he sings it in the movie, but it's great.
How did you?
What?
How did you know that? How did you know that
because
so
my
well?
fiance
I'm very
likes to sing
impressed.
that at karaoke.
Wow.
Yep.
Welcome to the Scumm Bar
Okay.
Podcast, where we talk movies, video games, pop
Carpets.
cultures, books, peach, icing, and everything in between, including carpets.
Yes. Made the cut.
Today with me on this wonderful world where we're looking at shining, shimmering splendors. Splenda? Is it Splenda? I've got
Nutella.
my co-host with me, and his name is
Wait, what did you call me?
Yasmin.
Oh.
I called you Yasmin.
Oh, I thought he said I was your voice coach or vocal coach or something.
You are also my vocal coach.
Cool. Open your glottal a little bit more. Just.
My glottal.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so when I'm singing, I need to open my glottal.
Yeah.
Oh, this is me opening my glottal.
I mean, don't
my
stop the
glottal.
don't. I don't know. How do you use that? How do you use glottal in a
Don't
phrase?
stop the glottal.
Don't stop me now. Anyway, hi, I'm Anth0z. Hey,
Hello.
I'm actually here, paying attention.
Welcome to the podcast. And Anth0z.
Hi.
I'm gonna do something different today.
Oh.
Would you like to hear a pirate joke?
Well, that depends. Is it going to be a different pirate joke?
It will be.
Ooh, okay, then yes, let's do it.
What kind of ship is most feared by pirates?
Smart ship, bad ship, forever ship, scare ship, fear ship. Man, I want to get this.
Can he get it, folks? Can he do it? Man versus
relationship.
machine. You got it!
Did I get it really?
It's actually a steady relationship,
Okay.
but you got it, though.
yes.
I'm very impressed. Guys, that's his first one. He did it!
I'm getting the hang of these jokes. I understand how they
Oh
work
my
now.
gosh. This guy. This guy. You know, this guy, he's impressive.
This guy
These guys
right
are
here.
very impressive. I like this guy.
He's got it.
I like the way
I
these
think we
guys
should stop the
think. He's
podcast
good.
now. We should finish it at 1-for-1 for me.
Yeah, I think you did it. Well, you won. You won. We're done. That's all I wanted. That's all I ever wanted.
That's great. Cool. Is that whiskey?
Ugh, something in it.
Ice?
I don't know what that is, but it's fuzzy.
Is it the fuzzy fig from a few episodes back?
It could be. It just might be.
Putting in your whiskey. Cool.
Anth0z,
Mattbrush.
let's get into. We're just gonna jump right into the ye old news.
All right.
Why don't we start talking about some news?
Okay. Oh, this is cool. So Elon Musk tweeted about how version 10 for Tesla is going to include YouTube and Netflix streaming, like in the car.
What?
Yeah. So okay.
How does that work?
So right now, like, there's like on the screen, you can open a browser, so you can use the internet with the like the data that the car receives, like just the personal hotspot.
Okay.
But you can't run, I guess, because it doesn't have Flash, so you can't. You can go to the YouTube website and you can see the thumbnails, but if you try to view a video, you won't be able to. So, I guess maybe they've included Flash or maybe some other plugin that enables you to actually watch stuff. But I think just knowing that knowing that I can stream YouTube and Netflix like in the car itself, and I don't have to use my phone. I've got this big giant screen in front of me while I'm sitting in my really comfortable seat while I'm waiting for my fiance to get ready. I will be very happy. So I like this.
So to be clear, this isn't a new car. This is a new update for the car.
Yeah, update for the car. This is version 10.
The operating system of the car is upgrading?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. They throw out updates like every once in a while. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you don't have to feel like bothered because you got the car last year and now there's like a new model that watches Netflix.
Yeah.
The next year.
Exactly.
Okay.
Have I not told you about how you can, like, there's all these other things that you can do like on screen? Like, you can play games. They have like asteroids and did they call it Caterpillar or like Millipede or something like that?
Snake? Millipede is such a good game, or Centipede?
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that game.
And there's
that brings me back.
I think in one of the latest updates they added some sort of like car racing game. So you can actually like it'll unlock the steering wheel of the car. Like the car will still be parked. You can't play any of these games while the car is in drive mode or anything. So it has to be parked. So you can actually use a steering wheel to drive it around to like actually control.
That's so awesome.
But then some people were tweeting how like because it still engages the front tires. So like after a session of playing racing games, like you'd see how like the tires were just like digging into the gravel it was like just standing on. So yeah. So if you got kids that want to play in your Tesla, be careful when they're playing that game.
Good on old Elon. That's very cool.
Yeah. Like that guy.
He's using his smarts. Anth0z, I'm just gonna jump in here real quick. We talk about how we talk about books on this podcast and then we never talk about books. So since this isn't my topic, I'm just going to quickly jump in. I am reading this book right now, and it's beside me, so it reminded me. So I'm just going to say real quick to anybody out there, this is a good book to be reading, and it's called Marcus Aurelius Meditations. Ooh. It's a fairly famous book, but if you haven't heard about it, it's very good. Marcus Aurelius is kind of like a famous philosopher. He was in Roman times during Caesar and all that.
Ooh.
And really good, witty person who wrote down sort of a journal or a diary of just random things in life that he was thinking. And He goes through a lot of inner turmoil, and it got translated to English over time and eventually became a book. It's very, very good. So I'm about halfway through it now, and I'm really enjoying it. So I just want to put that as a plug, and also in a way for us to talk about a book for once, because we never do throw those in.
I am writing that down because I want to read that. That sounds interesting.
It's very, very good, and it doesn't seem like it'd be easy to read, but it is very easy to read. It's literally just like point form notes of like random little like epitaphs and like things that make sense, you know, that he just like is like, oh, this is how people should be in life, you know.
Cool.
But it's written also like in when was it? Is it 1200 AD? I can't remember now, but I feel like it's like 1200 AD or so.
Okay, cool. Actually, we can wait. I'm just
800 or 900 AD. I can't remember.
Gonna make a
but it's yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, it's a long time ago, so it's unique how many things can hold up today from back then. So.
Right. That's cool. Yeah, I'm actually really interested about that. I wanted to look into just learning about older like Roman and Greek philosophers and whatever kind of things that they.
A lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah, like I'm sure there's so much that I could learn from that when I was younger, like I was never really interested in stuff like that, but now like I want to soak up as much knowledge as there is like existing. And
well, his is especially good because he doesn't pride himself as a philosopher. You know, he prides himself more as an emperor or a leader.
Cool.
And that was more like what his life was all about. It's just that he had so much stuff he did in life that his words ended up becoming very philosophical and very good for people to go by. He was touted as just a very honorable and respectful person by the people back then. So he's very good.
Cool.
Very, very good guy. And he wrote a very, very cool book. And you can actually see, for someone who is as amazing as he was, you can see how much strife he went through in his life and how many times he felt like he might not be choosing the right thing. And I think it's really relatable for a lot of us when we're going through life, not sure if we made the right decisions. It's just interesting to see somebody like him who's done so much that it's like, okay, well, he also was questioning his motives most of the time. So cool. It's cool to see that. I like
strife in his life. Cool. That's a hashtag right there. Strife in his life.
What else is in news?
Well, this is just I can kind of relate a little bit to that in terms of what I have been reading / listening to for my audiobooks.
Ooh.
So I can't remember, but I think I told you that I finished listening to 1984 and Animal Farm. And I think you wanted me to mention to you that like when I finished it.
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
I love 1994. I haven't gone through Animal Farm, but I love 1994.
Animal Farm is like super quick. If you do an audiobook, you'll be done in like 2 hours.
Okay.
It's really quick. But yeah, listening to 1984, all like after sort of reading it back in grade 12, man, it's just what an interesting world that he created with that. It is so cool.
Yeah.
And it's funny that like as I was listening to it, I was kind of reflecting on how like I wish that there could be some sort of changes in our world just to make just so that it would be like easier for people, like remove things like remove whatever barriers or remove whatever facets of life that create all these like social classes, because that the social classes existing like is what creates like the need for people to climb through those classes, right? Like you see that in 1984, like people start kind of questioning like why they. Well, I mean, like obviously people question in real life anyway, but just the way that he's painted it in that book is really cool.
It's very visual and it's very exaggerated, but in a really good way where you can relate to your own life or your own experiences in life quite a bit with it. So with 1984, at least going through it recently, I was able to draw a lot of parallels to kind of like the world we live in now. And I think it's really interesting because he wrote it back in the 40s or the 50s, and it's just crazy how you can have the same kind of parallels even though the world can change so much. We still fight and battle the same things. And I think the sad truth is we'll always be fighting and battling those same things. No matter what kind of special measures are put in place, we'll always be battling that. So it's just a good story to always go through so that you can recognize it, because recognizing it is half the battle. So.
Right. Yeah, and I guess in other news for things that I've been up to, it's really just about us today. Screw other people. So I watched Hobbs and Shaw and The Art of Racing in the Rain. So I got sneak preview tickets for those movies.
What? I want to see Hobbs and Shaw so badly.
It was a fun movie. I enjoyed it.
I want to go see it. The trailer looked awesome. And like Fast and Furious is such a guilty pleasure of mine. So
yeah, I'd say that's kind of like a guilty pleasure for me too. But I would say this movie it's less like a Fast and Furious movie, but it still has very similar unrealistic elements to it, which make it really fun to watch. Obviously, right?
Good. Well, that trailer looked. I don't know. It looked awesome. Like I was very excited. It was Moana meets Fast and the Furious, and I couldn't wait. So
yeah, it's fun. So I would recommend watching that. But I actually enjoyed watching this one more. So The Art of Racing in the Rain. It's with Milo Ventimiglia and Amanda Seyfried. So I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's about it's about Milo's character, who is a race car driver, and then he picks up this dog from a kennel. And it actually, the movie pretty much is all done through the dog's perspective.
Oh, really?
So the dog, the voice actor, is it? Oh, shoot, who is it? It's not John Cusack. Oh, I have to look this up. Otherwise, people, including myself,
is it Paul Rudd?
Will get mad at me. No, it's not Paul Rudd. Who are you? Oops. The Art of Racing in the Rain. It is Kevin Costner. That's right.
Oh, so, really?
So Kevin Costner plays the voice of this dog, and yeah, the movie is pretty much all through the eyes of the dog. So the dog watching the life of Milo's character become already a race car driver, but trying to live his life that way. But also meeting this woman, Amanda Seyfried, having a baby. So it's this dog's perspective on like living.
So it's Marley and Me, but more.
So yeah,
more about like a racer.
From the same producers of Marley and Me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Cool. That was a really well done movie.
I like that actor for the dude. He's a good actor.
Milo Ventimiglia, yeah.
And actually, Amanda Seyfried's good too.
Yeah, I think they both did a good job with their characters in this one. Like,
I secretly hope they make another Rocky movie where that dude ends up trying to be like the next Rocky, because he's Rocky's son, right? So
that would be great.
I know they want him to not be a boxer, but I think it'd be so cool if they somehow worked in a storyline where that dude came in to be like the next Rocky. I would be so happy with that. That would be so
cool. You know, but like they kind of already did a little tidbit of that in I forgot. Do you watch the show This Is Us? I know we had talked about it before.
Yeah, I've seen This Is Us, but I haven't seen season 3 of This Is Us.
Okay, so this isn't really a spoiler, but there is a scene in one of the episodes where where Sylvester Stallone is in it.
Okay.
And obviously, yeah. So Sylvester Stallone was Rocky, but I think Sylvester Stallone. So his character talks to Kevin, and I think Kevin is saying like how his dad was such a huge fan of like him and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that was their way of just like that's kind of like the Easter egg, Sylvester Stallone and Milo Ventimiglia.
Yeah, you're right. I kind of figured that too with that happening, but I don't know. I think it would just be cool if they still just made another Rocky
That'd
movie.
be so cool. I would watch that.
And if they never stopped making Rocky movies, then I would just be forever happy. In fact, the only reason I'm still happy today is just because there's still Rocky movies to watch.
Yeah. So anyway, I recommend that movie more so than Hobbs and Shaw, only because for me it was more of a complete movie. Like you get your comedy, you get your little bit of suspense, you get your like questions answered. You see, you like pulls at your heartstrings a little bit now and then, and yeah, it's a very good movie. Bring tissue.
Cool. Okay,
Yes.
I will.
Yeah.
I hope the dog doesn't. If the dog dies, I'm not going to trust anything you ever say again. I'm going to be very upset. So the dog better not die.
I kind of got a Friends reference from there. It just reminds me of when Phoebe, when she didn't know the ending of Lassie, because her mom would like stop it and like that. She just thought that was the end of the movie, but then never knew until she grew up that the dog died. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Or no, Old Yeller, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, yeah, not Lassie.
Old Yeller?
Old Yeller.
Yeah, Old Yeller.
Yeah.
Old Yeller got rabies. They had to shoot him.
Yep, that's what happened.
What a terrible ending. Imagine the writers just, okay, so what's Old Yeller up to? Okay, well he's doing good. They're making heroes happy. Yeah, all that's well. Okay, what's gonna happen next? Give him rabies. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
he's got rabies now. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds doable.
Oh, well, what's the kid gonna do about it? Well, he'll have to shoot him. He has to grow up someday. Okay, oh, there we go. He shoots him and he's dead. Okay, and then what do? Do we buy him a new dog? Do we make sure that he learns like a life lesson? No, we'll just end the movie. Oh, okay, sure. We'll just end the movie then.
That sounds like
and that's Old Yeller in a
That was a
nutshell.
very non-Dan Harmon process.
Yes, exactly. They did not go through their Dan Harmon circle story steps.
They missed
did
out.
they?
Last thing I wanted to mention, because I thought that you might be interested in this, but I saw there's this thing called the retro flag, which is like an encasement that is shaped like the original Nintendo, and it's compatible with Raspberry Pi. So I quickly looked into this, and I saw a whole bunch of things under the retro flag name, where it's like all these old school consoles like NES, the Game Boy, Sega, SNES, and I guess they all run on Raspberry Pi. So you can probably...
Oh, I've seen images of these before, yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember you mentioning before, like you brought a Raspberry Pi and other, like, I guess not AI, like those kind of...
I really like the idea of Raspberry Pi. I think it's very cool. This is really unique, though. This is very cool. They've taken Raspberry Pi and they've thrown it into like makeshift versions of old school consoles.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. In fact, actually, I'm looking right now at a replica of a Game Boy. Looks like a Game Boy Pocket.
Nice.
It looks really, really nice. Like, I like the idea of that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
And if you could put your ROMs onto... Oh, yeah, they've got little cases.
Yep. Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Like, that would be very cool. Not only because, like, obviously, if you want to just enjoy the experience, go on eBay and buy a Game Boy and go on eBay and buy Game Boy games. You could do that if you want to. But with Raspberry Pi, you can have an operating system on there. You can have YouTube, you can have Netflix, or if you wanted to, you could actually make your own ROMs or make your own like ROM hacks and put those onto the Game Boy cartridges and still have the experience of putting it in playing on a Game Boy.
Yeah.
You could also make your own video games if you wanted to and throw those onto cartridges as well. So that's really cool. That's very exciting.
Sorry, while you're looking at that, you just reminded me. I'm gonna get something I want to show you. I'll be right back.
So for the folks at home, this is very unorthodox. Anthony has he's left the room. He just walked away. So I don't know what I have to do right now. So I'm just gonna talk, about life and life experience. And I'm gonna give you guys probably the best advice you've ever received in your lives. Don't ever tell anybody that. Oh, there he's back. Okay.
Were you vamping?
Nope.
You were vamping. I saw your fingers moving. You were vamping.
I just do that. I talk with my fingers, and I also don't talk with my fingers.
You're just a big finger talker.
I'm such a talker.
Yeah, well, where's your fingers? I don't know where my accent's going. Anyway, so you just reminded me. I don't know if there's a lot of this on the island, but in Vancouver, for the past little while, there's been quite a trend of people wearing fanny packs, and so I wanted to get one just because.
No. Oh no!
So I wanted to get one because I like. There's sometimes like I don't like the shorts I wear. They're a bit on like or like. Yeah, whatever clothes I'm wearing that have pockets, they're a bit on the tight side, so it's not comfortable for me to have it. And if I want to carry extra stuff with me, I don't want to carry like a whole backpack. So I figured, okay, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can find like a fanny pack that I would be okay to rock. And so, took me a little while, but I stumbled upon this gem, and I had to get it. I saw it on eBay, and I just figured like this is like the only fanny pack that I would.
Oh
I would
my
probably wear.
gosh!
So
Wow.
yeah, so I bought this on eBay for like $8 or something like that.
Whoa, that's actually really cheap.
Yeah,
that's cool.
The shipping was like $12 or something. So in total, it was about.
Okay, we're looking at a $20 bill now.
Yes,
so I'm gonna
but eBay gave me a
retract my
$5
statement.
coupon. So
okay, 15's not bad. You know what? I think the only fanny pack I had in life was probably about $14.99. So there you go. Fanny pack. I can't believe you.
Yeah, but so
you are so Vancouver. It's
I'm
nuts.
very Fanny Coover. Just so that the audience knows what I'm holding up, this is like the original Game Boy fanny pack. So you open it up and it literally fits like specifically the shape of a Game Boy in there. So it's a Nintendo product. Yeah, it took me a while to settle upon this one. There's even here I'm going to show you, Mattbrush, that in this front slot, there's actually, I don't know if you can see it, but there's these little rings, so it's meant for you to bring your spare batteries for your Game Boy.
Oh.
So
wow. How nifty.
Yes.
That's about all I can say is how nifty is that?
So I am prepared for my days.
You are.
That's all.
Okay,
Cool.
good.
Yeah.
Well, Anth0z, I think that was a fairly informative ye old news.
It was really just about us, but that's okay.
But it really was about us. The ye old news was a lot about
I'm okay
us,
with
and
that.
yet at the same time, it was great.
Yeah.
So let's move into our topic number 1, which I think we're going to have to shorten a little bit, but that's fine, unless your other topic is short, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, because I don't think I need to talk about this all that long. But topic number 1 is Aladdin. New versus old. Better versus older. Sorry, older versus better. What?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I don't know. That
Cartooner
doesn't make
versus
sense.
livelier.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That's exactly what I meant to say.
That's it.
So,
Genie versus Genie.
Aladdin. Aladdin.
Aladdin.
The Tale of Aladdin.
He is my lad.
What?
Din.
He's your Aladdin. What did you think of the new live-action Aladdin?
Weird. I
agree.
I did enjoy it, but there were some elements to it that were really weird for me. Like
what?
Like all of the different speeds. Like when they were they were doing like kind of Bollywood style dancing, like they're sped up. But then there's a scene when what's her name? When Naomi Scott has her solo, like it's like a new song to this movie, and it's all in like slow mo.
Oh, I know.
And it was so weird for
time
me.
manipulation.
Yeah.
My fiance was mentioning in the first opening musical number of Aladdin, and when he's going down the streets of Din, he's singing his famous song, as we all know, Rat Face Streets. And when he's singing that song, the timing is really like awkward because of the visuals. So things are like sped up and then slowed down, like boom. That's the other thing too, is that the songs themselves were slower. So while things were sped up, songs were slower. It was very strange. So I would think the tempo, I don't know what the tempo of the song is supposed to be, but I feel like the tempo was like do-do, diddly-do-do, do-do, diddly-do-do.
I think it was actually a bit faster than that, because I
in
watched
the movie,
recently.
I feel like it was slower, though. It was like do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do, do-do-do. Like, it was like weird
it was
stuff like
lounge
that, you know?
Aladdin.
Yeah, I'm not sure. 2 seconds. I have to pause for a little bit here because my fiance is saying that she doesn't have The Bachelorette and she wants to watch The Bachelorette right now.
Oh no!
And I don't think I have it available for her.
Oh,
So I'm checking. Hold on. Give me a couple seconds.
How could you?
I know.
Okay.
It's awful. But
she needs to rewatch Survivor.
She just wants to watch The Bachelorette, you know. And I watched like 2 seconds of it. You know how I was talking about reality shows the other week? I don't know how somebody watches The Bachelorette. That's kind of crazy, you know. It's like she was just mentioning there's like 28 dudes trying to get one girl, and I was like, that's so awkward to watch. Just 28 dudes trying to get one girl.
Yeah, I can't watch any of those shows.
Very
They're
weird. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to watch that. Yeah, she's looking for it, and I don't have it. That's exactly the truth. Give me.
You know why she wants to watch it so badly? It's because she's got to start planning for her Bachelorette coming up. Because it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. I think you're right. Give me 2 seconds. I just gotta go break here the bad news that she doesn't have it. No, I'll come right back. Okay, hold on.
Okay, all right. So, audience, while we wait for our main host to break the news to his fiance, his brand new fiance. Oh, the one that he loves so much, and then you can see it in their eyes. He's in for it. This is not going to end up well. So while we were waiting for that, audience, I want you all to remember this moment, because place your bets. We're going to take a poll later on once you all chime in and say, once you give your opinion on what's going to happen, or your take, or whatever your guess is, we're going to see how that turns out, and then we're going to, I don't know, who knows? We never know with this podcast. Everything's always a surprise. Everything changes. Everything changes when you get married, when you get engaged, when you have a partner. Life becomes different. It's not just about you anymore. It's about both of you. Or if you're the kind of person who has polygamous relationships, then it's not just about both of you. It's actually about all of you. So really, really, really just think about that. Just keep thinking. And in the meantime,
jump ahead of the bread line, 2 jumps ahead of the stall, 3 jumps, and I think I'm gonna fall.
Are those the actual words? There's a bread line?
I think it's half the words.
Okay.
I think half those words work
bread
correct.
Line. Cool.
Street
like
rat, rat face, rift punk beard. That's not gonna fly, guys.
So I pretty much didn't know any of those lyrics, because when I watched it as a kid, I didn't pay attention to any of the songs.
I agree.
I paid attention to A Whole New World, but I didn't really know it well until way later, like after the movie.
Well, you had all the lyrics down, so I don't know.
For that one, yeah, but that's my fiance's fault.
Oh, blame the fiance. Is that why you're engaged? You just want to blame the fiance.
Yep, everything I do now is because of the fiance.
Fiance.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't say fiance.
Ooh, I like that one. I'm going to use it.
Thank you. I'm sure. Anyway, yeah. So what were we talking about? Street rats or something?
Yeah. Well, we're just talking about time manipulation, and it's very weird. It looked awkward, especially in that first song, and it sounded like the tempo was slower in that song, especially. But maybe all the songs. So I'm not sure. But so let's maybe talk about the cartoon one. As I mentioned to you earlier, since you saw the live action, you need to watch the cartoon one as the contrast, right? So what did you think about the cartoon one then?
So watching the cartoon one, it's so different from what I remember.
I know, me too.
I think I did enjoy the cartoon one more for sure. I think it was a little bit difficult for me to watch it these days, just because, like, I guess when I was a kid watching that, I was like, oh, this is so cool. And now when I'm watching it, it's like, oh, well, I know what the story is, so I don't really need to watch this cartoon. Oh, but what I can say is, got a lot of buts. I can more so now really appreciate Robin Williams' role in that movie.
I know, hey?
Like I never really realized, but like just that opening scene of Never Had a Friend Like Me.
Yep.
Man, what a scene. And like all the voices he did and just his enthusiasm, like every single like voice bit he does is just so perfect and just so 100% like him, but 100% committed to the character, and it blew me away. That one scene alone was just like, that was amazing.
I was shocked by the pace of the cartoon one. The pace was like non-stop. It was so fast. It was insane. But I felt like half the movie had gone by within 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
It was crazy. But like what was really, really jarring is the very intro to Aladdin, the cartoon version, compared to Aladdin, the live action. But I'd really be curious to see a timer beside the two of them as they're going. Because like the amount of exposition you just fly through in the cartoon version is so quick and so vast. There's so much of it. And like the first 5 to 10 minutes, you know so much about all the characters. And you're like ready for the story to keep going, right? It's just at a really quick, rapid pace. And the live action one tries to take a lot of time to show you more about these characters and more about all this stuff. But what's funny is I think I knew more about the characters based on the Disney cartoon one. And like it's also for kids. So they, I guess, like they were really straddling that line between like throwing too much into it and like just enough. So they did a good job, I think. So the cartoon one, the pace is really quick, and they tell you a lot about the characters really quickly. And I think that's the sign of a good movie, because it just goes by very quickly, and yet there's a lot happening, a lot to tell. But the live action one, I think, takes a long time to tell us the rules, explain to us the world that we're trying to be in right now, you know? So
yeah, I think part of that is because when you watch the live action one, there are a lot of like slow pans around the characters while they're kind of reacting to whatever just incident just happened, right?
That's true.
But yeah, like I like how you say like there's always kind of like something happening. So in the animated movie, when Genie first comes out and he gives his whole speech, I think it's before he does like the "You Never Had a Friend Like Me" bit. Like he introduces himself, and then there's a pause. Like neither of them are saying anything, but then there's like this big sign flashing over Genie's head that's like saying I can't remember what it says, like 3 wishes or like Genie, or I don't know. There's like one of those like neon blinking signs.
yeah.
So it's just the fact that like they're filling all these moments with like something just to like make it funny, right? So I can see why the pacing is completely different from the live action movie.
Now,
but it's fun.
I went into Aladdin thinking I was going to hate the Genie the most out of all of it, and I was really going to like Aladdin and Jasmine. What's funny is I came out of it thinking that the Genie was the best part of it, and that Aladdin and Jasmine didn't hit as much as I wanted them to hit. What did you feel about that? Like, how'd you feel about your expectations, I guess, going into the live action movie?
My expectations specifically about like the connection between Aladdin and Jasmine.
But just what you thought you were going to like as opposed to what you ended up liking. Or didn't like, for example.
I wasn't sure what to expect with Genie. Like, I figured it was going to be I was going to take him for a very, like, Will Smith character, if you know what I mean. Like, a lot of the time he plays himself.
Yeah.
I guess you'd say it. Like, not just, like, Fresh Prince, but, like, even something where it's not meant to be so comedic, but, like, iRobot. It was still very, like, oh, this is Will Smith.
Right.
It's not, like, Will Smith acting as, like, this other character. At least that's the way I sometimes take him. But in this movie, I kind of expected it to be that way, only because obviously he had pretty big shoes to fill coming after, like, following up on Robin Williams. Like, that's a pretty big role to fill.
Definitely.
So I figured the only way you combat that is just by being yourself. But I felt that they didn't really play to Will Smith as the character, but they kind of just like they lived they really played to the whole need to be human for the Genie. Right. And so, like, most of my focus for thinking about him was based on that, because, you know, they would show him kind of like interested in like the Handmaiden and all that kind of stuff, and he's also the one that was telling the story in the beginning.
Right.
Sorry, I'm just getting a call.
Go for it.
For some reason. I'm just gonna.
Yep.
1 second.
It's all good.
I'm just recording my podcast. Am I free? I might be free in the next like 30 to 40 minutes or so. What's up? No, Luke is at home. Oh, Do you want to maybe message Elise if she wants to show me? I'll let you know once it's my podcast. Okay, thanks. Okay, bye. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Everything all good? You can.
Yeah, because I never get a call from her, so I figured maybe like something was wrong. But they just want to go to a pub nearby my place, and it's like almost 10 o'clock, so it's just really surprising. Anyway, where were we? Fireflies, Aladdin, something. Oh, genie, right? Human.
Yeah.
Love, interest.
That's the one.
Handmaiden.
You got it.
Handmaiden's Tale.
Yep.
Right. So anyway, I like that about the genie for this movie, just because like, it was an unexplored layer of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was that option that they had to go through, or that they could have gone through in the animated movie, because obviously, like he did mention in the beginning, like, you know, he would love to be free, but they didn't really go down that avenue so much that they were showing him like yearning for it as much as we saw that in this movie.
Right.
So I liked that about it. I think actually when I talked to some people, like they didn't like that so much because like they want Genie to be Genie, but for me this helped me connect with him a little bit more.
I think I agree with that. I was trying to compare him to the Robin Williams one a lot, and because of that change of his character, I ended up not comparing him at all. And I think that made me, in the end, just enjoying the Genie more, right? And just liking the story that they had shown with him. So like I said, I think I thought I was going to hate him the most in the whole movie, but by the end of it, I was actually shocked how much I enjoyed him mostly in the movie and not really the other characters. The funniest scene to me in that movie was when Aladdin and Genie are trying to show off the fruit or whatever to like the king and Jasmine and the other dude, Jafar. And that scene is just really funny, mainly because of Will Smith and the improvisation kind of going on there. And I think that they had something good happen in there. And it was almost entirely, like, it almost told me they didn't need to make this as a Disney remake. They almost could have made this as a Disney reimagining, where it was like, it didn't have to have the music. It didn't have to have a lot of the same things. They just had to hit the same characters and same story. Because when they had that sort of improvisational humor happening, I was like, ooh, there's almost like we're not trying to be the original. We're just trying to be another version of the story. And I was like, that's actually really unique and interesting. And so watching that scene, at least, that was like one of my favorite moments of the movie. I thought there was a lot happening that was really fun to watch. But it wasn't enough. Like, by the end of the movie, it was not enough for me to say it was a success. I really don't think it was. And especially watching the cartoon one, it's like it did not need to be made because the cartoon one was fantastic. So if they went more the direction of not trying to remake it, but reimagine it, I think would have been better. But
yeah, that's interesting. I really want to, I kind of want to explore that more. Like, I'd be curious to see if they did like a reimagining of it as opposed to the remake, because I can actually really see that being like its own entity.
Yeah.
And yeah, how would they sing? It would be another new world. No.
It's another world. Anth0z.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm going to take you on to the Wheel of Scum, and we're going to go into an intermission between the two topics. Now, the Wheel of Scum is something that we play every single episode, and that is a fact.
Absolutely. If you check every podcast leading up to this one, you will see for sure.
Go back.
That we don't ever lie to you.
Yes,
about
go back
the Wheel
and
of
check
Scum.
every single Scumm Bar spinner. And Anth0z, I would like you to cue the music for the Wheel of Scum. On the Wheel of Scum, we've got 6 different options that we can choose from. The very first one is Pirate Adventure. The very second one is Shakespeare in a BR. The very third one is Crossover Cross Bover. The very fourth one is A Haunting Tale of Woe. The fifth one, Who Wants to Be Scum Millionaire? And the number 6 is Swashbuckler. Which one will Anth0z land on today? Anth0z, will you please spin that wheel?
Click.
I don't think you can hear the noise. I think only I can. So, your clicks are way better than mine.
I'm a dolphin. Oh, my tongue's so tired. Oh. Tick, tick,
Oh, we haven't done this one in a while. It is a haunting tale of woe.
Oh, no.
Okay, on a haunting tale of woe. Roll the dice. If the number is higher than a 3, Anth0z will tell Mattbrush a scary story. If lower than a 3, Mattbrush will tell the story. The other person has to say one word to inspire the scary story. Okay.
I feel like it's always me that has to tell the story, isn't it?
Roll the dice. I feel like I've told it before. So you have to roll the dice.
Oh, what the? Okay. Oh, how do I see. Okay, ready, rolling now.
Okay.
It is 5.
What was it again? If
know.
it's lower than a 3, Mattbrush tells the story. If it's higher than a 3, Anth0z tells the story. Okay, your word is cell phone.
Okay. Oh, man. Beth woke up to the ringing of something. She wasn't quite sure what it was, but she could tell it was nearby. She got up from her bed, rubbed her eyes a little bit, looked around. It was all blurry. Listening for that ringing. Where was it coming from? She looked to her right. She looked to her left. Couldn't see it. She looked over her bed. She kind of like peeked over. There it was. It was on the floor. It was her cell phone. It was ringing. Picked it up, turned off the alarm, saw that it was 6:30, usual time to get up, start a workout, go for a run, come back in and have breakfast, and get on with her day. That's just how it was every day with Beth. Monday to Friday, same routine. 6:30, wake up to that alarm on her cell phone. Always had trouble finding it, I guess because the vibrations of the alarm just pushed it off the shelf. Not really sure, but that was life. She was used to it, didn't question it. Never really took the time to notice, just in the middle of her daily routine, how she would always just go about her runs, just really focused listening to her music, not really paying attention to the people that might be passing by her, whether they were on bikes or in cars, or just watching from the window. Never really sure about it, but just always in her own world. So much so that she would come home, and because she would never have any problems, she would always just come home and leave the door unlocked, knowing that the next day it would all repeat, there'd be no problems. So yeah, one day she just decided to take a little bit of a different path, just to try to change things up, like what could hurt. So instead of taking a left at the stop sign, she went right. She thought, hey, why not? The sun's shining. I'm just gonna try this out, change of pace, give my mind a little break free from my own chains, and see if something new drops by. So she did. And everything seemed fine to her. She didn't really see any change. But unbeknownst to her, everybody else was the one that noticed this change. And this change was very, very impactful for them. She not only changed her routine, but she changed their routine. But what did that mean to her? Well, nothing. What did that mean to them? Everything. Why? Because this was the kind of community where they all worked together to make sure that their wheels were always spinning the exact same way that was predicted, the way that they had always set. So they figured, if she can go and change the rules, why couldn't they? So day by day, she decided, you know what, I'm just gonna start taking different routes all the time. I don't wanna just stick to the same old routine. I want to challenge myself. I want to grow. And that mentality that spread to everybody else, and everybody just decided, you know what, I'm gonna be my own person too. That's how I want to be. I don't want to be controlled by society, by the norms set out for me. I want to be able to be myself. But with that comes a change in mentality. What are rules? What's structure? What's the point? What's the point of following these laws if we don't really need to? We don't see the consequences. So little by little, you can tell that life in that community was changing quite a bit. And Beth found out the hard way. You know how she would always leave her door unlocked. That's just how it was for her. Never had a problem. She would still continue to wake up. She would hear that alarm, get up out of bed, look around, noticing it's all blurry, had to look for that phone, look left, look right, wouldn't see it, figured it must be under the bed. So she would look, she'd peek over the side of the bed, couldn't see it, but she heard it. Went to the other side of the bed, peeked over, still heard it but couldn't see it. So it must be under the bed. So she went to the edge, peeked her head down, noticing it was quite dark, looked around, saw a little bright light in the corner, realized, that's my phone. How did it get all the way there? That doesn't make any sense. So she actually had to move her bed out because it was closer to the wall. So she moved the bed, went to pick up her phone, and saw it wasn't just an alarm. It was somebody was on the call. Somebody was listening. The end.
Ooh, man, that was good. That just got to a really creepy spot.
Or that just went like in a weird direction.
No, I liked it. That made me think
next.
that everyone else whose routine was revolving around what she decided was the one they were the ones listening in. Like I feel like
Sure.
I feel like she was part of some kind of giant thought experiment, and like all these people listened to what she was doing.
Well,
but that's the thing. Since it's open ended, it was me. It's just me. So
yeah, I actually kind of wanted to go like the whole Truman Show route, but I couldn't quite find the right like phrasing to get there, and so I thought, okay, I better give up before this makes even less sense. But
no, that was not bad. That was not bad at all. That was good. I was genuinely interested, waiting with bated breath, watching you and saying, I wonder what he's going to say next. Yeah,
it's more about I wonder what he's going to say next, as opposed to I wonder what's going to happen to Beth.
It was a little bit of I wonder how many questions he's going to ask himself. It was kind of like that Seinfeld episode. She's like he just always asks himself everything in the form of a question. Then it like cuts to him. He's just like, am I happy when I'm with Beth? Yes, of course I'm happy when I'm with Beth.
Is that how most of my Haunted Tale of Woe stories go? Do I normally ask questions?
This one was so strange. You were like telling the story in a narrative tone where I just know what you mean. It was so funny. You were just like you know how Beth always leaves her phone unlocked or whatever. So I was just like, wait, what? Like, I don't know that.
I was probably doing the whole like, are you afraid of the dark?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Kind of, yeah,
it's very funny. But it was how many times just what does it all mean? And what was their routine? What did their routine mean to them? And I'm just like, wow, that's a good question. What did their routine mean to them? Like, not bad. Man. Good job, Anth0z. I'm pleasantly happy and surprised, and
thank you.
I'm glad we got to a Haunted Tale. Well, we haven't seen that one in a while, so it's fun when it comes up.
It's been a while. I'm happy that is over with. That's nerve-wracking for me.
Well, you do a good job, so I don't know. You shouldn't be nerve-wracked. I am excited for the next one.
Thank you.
Anth0z. Let's move on to topic number 2. Topic number far from home, as we like to say around here.
Yes, that is officially. That's gonna be a hashtag topic. Topic number far from home. So, my topic. So we've talked about like similar. We've talked about like different aspects of this already before in different podcasts, but the way that I phrase this is the impact, predictability, and timeliness of cable released shows versus streaming released shows.
Ooh, like with Stranger Things when it releases and all that.
Exactly. So when we see, when we watch shows on Netflix or even like Prime Video, maybe even other streaming services, they release like whole season in one go, and usually you would just follow it, like you would binge it, and it could just be like a weekend for you. In the TV show, it may or may not take place over that weekend. It might take place over still like a whole like school season or like a whole year. So it's that kind of feeling versus watching something that's released during the fall. So that starts in September or October on cable runs all the way through until what is it, like April or May, I think is usually when the seasons end. But in that time, with the exception of the show 24, which takes place like all in one day,
Right.
but something like you can take Friends, you can take Fresh Prince, you can probably name like any sitcom you can think of, and the timeliness of those releases of those episodes will relate to something that's happening at the time. So
Yeah.
like you'll see the Christmas episode, you'll see the Halloween episode, the New Year's episode, like all that kind of stuff.
Valentine's Day episode.
Exactly. Yeah. The third Friday episode.
Oh yeah, those are the best.
Yeah. So so I just wanted to talk about that. Like I don't really have it's not like a question-based thing, but I just wanted to talk about that because I think it's an interesting thing to keep in mind. Like from my perspective, kind of what brought it up was now that Fresh Prince came back on Netflix, I got to the point where it was the Christmas episode, and I was like, oh man, like
I missed this?
I can think back to. Sorry?
Like you missed this?
I miss being able to like predict like if it's like the beginning of December and the first episode of that the first week of episodes for December might start like alluding to like, oh, Christmas is coming,
Yeah.
and then a couple episodes later it's the Christmas episode, and so like I feel like I'm on this journey with them because like I'm literally like every week I get a chance to feel like whatever it is like I'm experiencing in real life, but also in the TV show.
Yeah, I used to really like the Roseanne Halloween specials. Those were a lot of fun. Tool Time, or not Tool Time, Home Improvement.
Home Improvement.
Yeah, those Halloween specials were fun. Simpsons Halloween specials, obviously.
Oh yeah.
There was just so many good ones for Halloween, especially where it felt like it was getting into the mood, and that did it for me. Like it was so good. And then yeah, Christmas as well. I'm big on Halloween. I'm big on Christmas. I like both of them. So for me, it was so much fun to see those kinds of things change seasonally. But what's pretty interesting too is like with Stranger Things, for example, on Netflix being a streaming show, I think it was season 2 or season 1. One of them is Halloween themed and is very much around
Season 2.
Halloween. Well, season 1
Season
also
2.
has the pumpkin patches, and they're like something's happening to the pumpkin patches. They're all getting like destroyed or something like that. And I thought it was all around Halloween as well, but maybe it is just season 2.
Oh well, season 2 is when they had like the Ghostbusters
Oh,
costumes.
good point.
Like,
Yeah,
first day
exactly.
they get to school and like
Yeah.
Dayton turns around and is like, guys, something's wrong, and everybody's coming out of the school bus not in costumes, and they're the only ones in costumes.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. That's the one. So that one was seasonally like Halloween, and then season 3 is seasonally like the 4th of July. So
summer.
You're right in the sense that it's different because we don't get to have that build up and that with what's happening at the time, but they're almost like preemptively trying to like define the different holidays as they do it. Now, not every show is going to do that. You know, let's say This Is Us. Let's say that was a Netflix show. There's no way that like they're going to make just like a whole season and trying to make it off of one specific season. Sorry, season of the show based off of one season holiday.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It is kind of strange because they have to sort of judge how you're going to... It almost asks a different question, right? The studios now have to judge when you're going to watch their episodes. And no one, at this point at least, nobody knows when is best to watch these episodes and get the best experience out of it. So when a show releases, like Stranger Things, a lot of people just binge the whole show in one sitting. Some people binge the show over the course of 3 days, and others will watch them over the course of a few weeks. So it's different. Who's to say what's better or worse? But the problem is that it's up to us. And it's so it's unique and weird, but you're right. I do like it when the studios have more control because then we got more things where we were with the characters in our own regular life and then as well as in their lives. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was another one that did the different seasonal things that... Sorry, you were talking about that earlier, but it's just interesting to watch those with the characters too. I agree with you. I had a lot of fun doing it, and maybe it's my bias, but I like the nostalgia of that. So it's interesting that we don't get that as much in Netflix, but I never thought about that. It's a very interesting point.
Another thing that reminded me of that is I forgot. Do you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Because they also do like the recurring Halloween theme episode, but they it takes place during Halloween, but it's not necessarily like they don't make it like a very Halloween kind of episode. It's just basically what they do is they. I don't want to spoil it because like I want you to watch it and you're going to watch it. I'm telling you, you're going to watch it.
I've been recommended it so many times.
But basically during this episode, there's basically like a competition that takes place, but it takes place every Halloween episode. And so I didn't actually I didn't grow up watching I didn't watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine on cable during the regular seasons. I would just watch it on Netflix because that's when it became available to me.
Right.
But had I been watching it throughout as they were released, I think I would get to the point where oh, it's the Halloween episode, and now my thought process is are they gonna do it this episode? And if they do, how are they gonna make it better than the last one? I'm not necessarily thinking oh cool, it's gonna be another themed episode. I'm actually thinking oh, they gotta top this one now, and I'm aching to watch it. So I didn't get that. I didn't get it from Brooklyn Nine-Nine specifically because I was binging it, but I think I would have had I been watching it. Yeah. If it was released like a regular cable show. And then I think it's interesting that when you bring up Stranger Things specifically, because that one takes place in the 1980s.
Yeah.
So it pretty much, I guess in my perspective, it makes more sense for that one to be released in a binge aspect, because if that was happening, if they were releasing that regularly from September on, it wouldn't really make sense for us to be engaged with it at the same time, because it takes place so many years ago, and it'd be weird for us to be oh, it's it's July 1st for us, but July 4th for them.
Yeah.
So let's just say July 4th, whatever. So for us, it's oh, cool, July 4th, our neighbors are doing some stuff. And then, but for them, July 4th in 1984 or 1986, it's not as relevant as what's happening now. So it makes sense that you wouldn't be expecting that at that kind of show. But
even if we watch the Flintstones or something, they would do a Christmas special, and it's not in our time period, but we all relate to it, right? So
yeah.
I don't know. There's something nice about cable TV that we are losing, and I think this topic is really interesting on that sense that maybe we're still in the transition phase right now, so it's hard to see as much. But that's such a good point about just the holidays in general. But them, the way they were portrayed, it's not necessarily that the show you're watching did Christmas, let's say December 1st, like you were saying, but every show you were watching started talking about Christmas around December 1st. So not only were your real life events starting to transition into that, but also the shows you were watching, they were all transitioning into that as well. So I just think that's really interesting and a very good point, because you're not going to get that in the world today where we're just watching Netflix. We're not going to see the same transitions happening because we choose. They don't choose, but we choose.
Yeah.
So that's weird. I do prefer when they were choosing. It's funny. I never would have thought that, but I do prefer that style where the studio was coming up with when we got the episodes we got. Mm-hmm. That's very interesting.
And then this kind of this relates more so on the outside of it, but in terms of the industry for the actors. So I had a conversation with one of my friends, because she's an actor, and she was saying that before all these streaming services, that audition periods would happen at a very specific time, because filming would happen at a very specific time, because the releases of those shows would also happen at a very specific time.
Right.
They'd always be around the fall time, right?
Yeah, back to school.
But she was saying, sorry?
Back to school was when the new shows always come out.
Yeah, exactly. So now with the streaming services and shows coming out pretty much whatever date that the networks want, or whatever the streamers want them to come out. She was saying that basically audition time is any time of the year, because now filming takes place any time of the year and releases take place any time of the year.
Right.
So I think I find it's really interesting, how we definitely have the pros and cons for how the actors are involved in these shifts, but also us as the viewers, because we're gaining different impacts from it, but so are they, but just on a completely different levels.
Yeah. That's pretty unique.
I guess there's always going to be some extra layer that we can talk about streaming, because I know I've brought it up several times, but this was kind of.
I'm always shocked how much we end up talking about streaming, because to me it is a big deal, but it's it always feels like it's old news, or it's done, or everything has been talked about. But yeah, the amount of topics we've come up with when it's come with streaming, it's so funny when you break it down. There's so many different facets to it, so many different layers. In the sense of movie theater releases, and will people go to the theater anymore, to ticket sales in a movie theater to subscription services and monthly payments, or timely payments, I should say, to now like seasonal releases. Like, it's so funny. It dynamically changes the game. It's really interesting. And is it better or is it worse? That's a question we have to constantly ask because it keeps changing. The whole beast's moving. So, and then here we are with last week's news with the Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN all being packaged together as a new TV for people, right? It's very strange because what does that mean? Like, how does that change our media? How does that change how we're watching stuff anymore? It used to be very regimented, and I always liked the regimented schedule. Yeah. But what changes when it's not regimented? When it's up to us? There used to be a time when it would hit a certain time of night where nothing was on. So you would at least go to bed by then because nothing was on. Yeah. Yeah. Today, though, we've got so much available, and it's up to us when we want to watch it.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting.
Yeah. It's I like the way you put it, that it's up to us when we want to watch it, because, truly it is. Like, we get the opportunity to, like, the streaming service is available pretty much as long as we have internet running. And we can choose whether to watch one show or another at whatever rate we want. Whereas, if we're waiting for it to be released on cable, we have to wait a week each time, and then there's like that whole leeway time, and you kind of forget about it. You go like through the ups and downs. Yeah. But I like that I like how you put it, that it's up to us.
What's really interesting too is that since it's up to us, we can still make the choice to watch all the Halloween movies we want, or Halloween TV specials and all that stuff around Halloween. So it can almost be better for us because we can choose to do that and have like a marathon. At the same time, though, more and more we'll see that shows are going to do it less and less. Like back then, it was forced for the show to do it, so we had so much content, and now we actually have less content of what we might be wanting more of. It's very strange. So it's like a catch-22 situation.
It kind of reminds me of like radio versus like downloading like MP3s, basically.
Yeah.
Because radio, like, you have the unpredictability of like, oh, what's going to happen next, right? Whereas like with streaming or like whatever you have on your phone or on your MP3 player, like, it's really just limited to like your own like not limited. Like, you basically created your small knit of music that you like listening to.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of cycling through that over and over again, as opposed to just waiting to see like, oh, what's the next hit on this station?
And I guess that brings up taste as well. I mean, your taste used to be defined by the stuff you would watch, and you liked some of it, you didn't like other parts of it. But now, if we're so narrow focused, maybe we're not getting exposed to unique things enough that we're not seeing things we might want to watch, right? Who knows? I mean, that's more up to the platforms we use. I think Netflix is pretty good at throwing other stuff in your face. But, back in the day, like, you would just watch TV, and then if something that you didn't think you wanted to watch came on, it would just come on, right? And then you might give it a chance for a couple minutes before you change the channel. And then, for all you know, you just found your next best show that you like a lot. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Okay, can you name your favorite recurring, like, seasonal episode?
I don't know if it's my favorite, but I did want to talk about it earlier, so I'll just give a shout out to it now. But in the show Community, which I really liked, before it got weird and bad, they were starting up a seasonal paintball game. And it was every season there was one episode, or sometimes it was a two-parter, would be a paintball episode. And they themed them for different things each season. Actually, each episode, the theme like changes, and the characters even remark on it, which is hilarious. They mention that the theme is changing during it. So, for example, in the first season, there's a Star Wars like paintball epic theme that's happening for all the characters at the school, and they're all shooting each other. It's very like Star Wars. But then the theme changes slightly. It starts to go like country and cowboyish halfway through, and the character might have like a Han Solo vest, and is suddenly realizing, oh wait, it still works. Like it's still a cowboy theme. It's like, okay, cool. So then the character just go with it, right? So so that was really cool. So I think the reoccurring paintball paintball episodes were really unique and really interesting, and I was really excited to see where Community was going to take that. It's a shame that show eventually got canceled and really fell down, but it was just a solid show, and I was really excited to see where they were going to keep taking that each season. So that was cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. That actually very much summarizes what I was trying to say with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think. Like,
Well, that's why I was going to mention it earlier when you were talking
yeah.
about Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It sounded really similar, but
yeah, interesting, cool. Oh man, I miss Community too. I liked watching that show.
me too. It was very smart.
Yeah, yeah.
Dan Harmon.
very-
Did you know that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's him.
Ah,
With his writing
Dan.
style.
yeah.
Very smart.
Nice.
Yep.
Good for you, Dan.
It's also why the show sucked after a while, is because they got rid of Dan Harmon. So,
Oh, is that what happened?
yeah. Yep. And then they lost all their money, and then they brought back Dan Harmon, but they had no more money, so the show was like really doomed. They lost
Oh,
they
okay.
lost their actors, they lost like everything, so it was pretty much doomed.
Was there something with like Chevy Chase?
Yeah.
And
Chevy Chase and Dan
or
Harmon had like a fallout. It was really
Right.
not good. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the drama behind it. I just know that happened. And
Yeah.
then eventually the studio got rid of Dan Harmon, and then eventually Chevy Chase left, and then Dan Harmon came back. But then the other actors were moving on to better things, so they left as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, that's my thing. What's your thing?
Oh geez, it's really difficult for me to say. Because I can think of like one specific seasoned episode or season themed episode from like every single show that I've watched. Like right now I'm thinking in the X-Men 90s cartoon, there's a Christmas episode where Jubilee I think she wants to go Christmas shopping or something, and then she meets a bunch of the Morlocks, and like I think the Morlocks are trying to like steal gifts because it's like Christmas time and they don't have the money, but they want to give gifts to each other. And so I think she helps them to like get gifts or steal gifts or something.
Oh my gosh.
If that is the episode, then obviously that's a terrible message. But that might not be the case. I don't know. I think in the end, like, I think Jubilee does help them by like, you know, telling them like, don't do that, don't steal. And then I think she gets like the rest of the X-Men to come and help and like give them gifts and give them like a warm, welcoming kind of Christmas. And I just remember that being like a very like a non-traditional I wouldn't predict that kind of episode for X-Men just the way that the rest of the story went.
Right.
Because it was just like really didn't matter for the rest of the series, but it was just like a nice like breather, I guess you could say. So I remember enjoying that as a kid and looking forward to seeing I feel like Beast wore a Santa hat or something like that. One of them did.
I can't
Somebody wore a
believe
Santa
X-Men
hat.
had a
Maybe
Christmas
Wolverine.
episode. I had no idea that even happened.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the things that you can expect when you're a kid watching shows on cable.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's my topic.
Well, Anth0z, we have come to a very, very special time of the podcast. It's a time where I like to ask, where can the audience find you?
If you would like to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Anth0z1. That's at ANTH0Z1.
And if you want to find me, you can find me at Mattbrush Gaming on Twitter. If you want to watch this video version of this podcast, you can on YouTube at Mattbrush Gaming as well. If you want to listen to the podcast in podcast form, like most people, regular human beings, you can go to any of your podcast platforms because we're probably available on it. We're on like everything, like Spotify, Stitcher, Twitcher. We're on iTunes, we're on Podbean, we're on BeanPod, we're on them all, and we survive. We do very well on all of them. In fact, we're the #1 podcast.
Definitely.
Because-
if you just search on Google #1 podcast,
We will come up,
only us.
and it'll say
will be
that
the
our
ones
genre
showing.
is everything,
Yeah.
and everything in between.
Yeah.
So please leave us a
Exactly.
like or a
That's
review or a comment or something and let us know what you think because we appreciate all of your comments and feedback. We really do enjoy it. And Anth0z, what is that
Mattbrush.
very special thing that we say every single podcast?
Christmas time is here. Marcus Aurelius writes about meditations. Read the book for your soul food and tell us how it is.